Couple more folks coming on in. So welcome everyone, and welcome to Valley Community Presbyterian Church for another of the Friday Night in the Valley concerts. My name is Bill Davney. I'm a parish associate here. I'm standing in for Pastor Jim. He is off at a conference this week and is not quite back, so you have to make do with the alternative possibility. Thanks to the folks who are in our sound booth taking care of that side of things for us. Sammy Shellhaas will have refreshments for us afterwards. But we are here, of course, to hear FluteSpiration, which I understand has been here before, and we're looking forward to all hearing them again. I am fascinated that there's only 4 musicians, but there's about 10 instruments up here. So we're going to hear a variety of sounds of flutes, including one that I certainly have never seen before. So I'm looking forward to this. As always, we gather for good music and that sort of inspiration and beauty of the creation and what people have done with sound. And we also gather to contribute to one of our mission efforts, to the people whose help we can offer and who can be part of this evening as well. And tonight, of course, it's Clare Housing. And so we will be hearing a little more about that from Thomas Page right here at the intermission. So with no further ado, I would welcome up FluteSpiration.
We are so pleased that you chose to spend your Friday evening with us. We have a very varied program to offer you tonight, but before we continue, I'd like to just take a quick moment and introduce the members of the quartet. On the far side there is Peggy Dory, Mark Brudvold, John Saxton, and I'm Trudy Anderson. So that first piece was, you probably recognize the tune, Tchaikovsky's Sleeping Beauty waltz from one of his 3 ballets. We'll change gears now from classical ballet to the Beatles. I recently learned a fun fact about Eleanor Rigby. Eleanor Rigby was the only song that they recorded in which none of them played an instrument. They all just sang. And the instrumental accompaniment was provided by string players. Now, according to one source, in order to achieve the aggressive, punchy sound of the strings, the microphones were set up really close to the instruments, much to the chagrin of the studio session players who were not used to such a unique setup. After our tribute to the Beatles, we'll follow that by going back in time about 250 years. The Harmonious Blacksmith is the final movement of a suite by George Frederick Handel and was originally written for harpsichord.
Now we move into some French music. Our next piece is Divertimento Jazz. It's a 3-movement work, and the titles are referencing areas in France. Nice is the first movement, which is a town. La Doma Forget, which is an area, and Javert, which is another locale in France. Raymond Gio, the composer, is highly regarded as a French flutist, pianist, and composer. Born in 1930 in Roubaix, France, he began study at the Lilly Academy at the age of 7. In 1947, after 2 years in the class of Marcel Moïse, he won first prize on flute at the Paris Conservatory. A few months later, he joined the Lilly Opera as piccolo, playing many operas, operettas, and lyrical comedies. He became the flute teacher at the National School of Music, Calais, from 1950 to 1956. However, in 1956, he left Calais and began to work in recording studios in Paris. He was first flute at the Paris Opera from 1962 to 1991, almost 30 years. And he also became assistant to Alain Marian at the Paris Conservatory in 1977. Following Divertimento, we would like to share Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, which is a favorite of many people. This is an African-American spiritual song, and it has become one of the best-known Christian hymns. The song was probably composed in the late 1860s by Wallace Willis and his daughter, Minerva Willis, both Choctaw freedmen. Performances by the Hampton Singers and the Fisk Jubilee Singers brought the song to the attention of wider audiences in the late 19th century. The earliest known recording of Swing Low, Sweet Chariot was recorded in 1894 by the Standard Quartet. The song uses the theme of death to remind the audience of the glory that awaits in heaven, when Christians believe they will transcend the earthly world of suffering and come to rest in their final home. Sandra Tucker is the arranger for this version, which we will play for you.
You want to get a seat and take a break, or wonderful first half and more to come. We at this point would, however, like to welcome up Thomas Page, the donor engagement specialist at Clare Housing. I think we've been associated with Clare Housing for a long time here, certainly since Clare Terrace started happening. Clare Housing provides a range of services to people living with HIV/AIDS, offering community and support and a variety of services that are useful to that community. And so we're grateful to have them here and to continue our support. There's a bowl at the outside of the door for offerings tonight. If you want to write a check, people still do that. If you can write it to Valley and then just mark it on the line for Clare Housing for tonight. But let's hear more.
Thank you, Bill. And thank you, Valley Community Presbyterian, for this wonderful chamber music program, Fridays in the Valley. And thank you to FluteSpiration for an evening of great music. Let's hear it for FluteSpiration. So as Bill mentioned, my name is Tom Page, and I am the donor engagement specialist for Clare Housing. Clare offers both stable housing and supportive services for Minnesotans living with HIV/AIDS. And we are very grateful for the relationship we have with Valley Community. They do many wonderful things for us, including events like this, where folks are welcome to make a free will donation. But a really wonderful connection is with the Clare Terrace Apartments building, which is right down 36th. It's one of our apartment buildings, and Valley actually provides, I believe you still provide a community meal every month for the folks who call Clare Terrace home. It's just one of the things that Clare Housing believes is that everyone deserves a place to call home, not just shelter, not just programs, but a home, and you all really participate in making that happen. So just a really quick review for anyone who might not be familiar with our mission. Housing is critically important to ending the HIV epidemic. HIV has become a completely manageable condition, but without stable housing, managing your HIV, taking your medications on a regular basis is very difficult, if not impossible. So stable housing is just the foundation of being able to manage HIV. And when HIV is managed effectively, what happens is that you reduce the amount of HIV virus in your system to the point where it cannot be found in a test anymore. That's what's called undetectable. And when that happens, your health is protected, and also HIV cannot be transmitted to other people. So it's just a really important part of stopping the transmission of HIV, and that's really the work that we do. And so what we call that is undetectable equals untransmittable. And if there's one thing I want you to remember from what I shared with you, is this is a campaign just to make sure that people understand that HIV is a manageable condition, and that when you're undetectable, you cannot transmit HIV to others. So HIV funding has been threatened in the last year or so in ways that we haven't seen in decades. Definitely since Clare started doing our work in 1987. And so Clare actually just recently started partnering with a new organization called PRISM. I just wanted to show you their logo so you can keep an eye out for PRISM. They are an organizing network that is reaching out to faith communities statewide to activate them in advocacy for justice issues related to the LGBTQ plus community, especially in the realm of housing. So we have a lot in common with PRISM. PRISM and Clare Housing have just started partnering to get a message out to these communities in observance of World AIDS Day, which happens on December 1st every year since 1988. So this is a day when we remember the lives lost to HIV/AIDS and also celebrate the wins that we have achieved in HIV prevention. So we're getting this message out to these communities across the state, and I just wanted to share with you 3 little bullet points, because I can talk forever about how great Clare is, and we are. But what the communities really want to hear is how can we help? So we just came up with a list of 3 really great things to consider. One is personal, one is more social, cultural, and one is more political. The personal one is to just get tested. Know your HIV status. There's still a lot of stigma connected to HIV, even though it has been a manageable condition for 30 years. So just know your status. It's a really foundational part of ending that stigma. So that's the personal part. The social part would be to talk to somebody. Talk to 3 people about U equals U. Undetectable equals untransmittable. Make sure people understand this about HIV. And also just make HIV something that people can talk about. And then politically, there's a campaign because of how HIV prevention funding has been threatened. There's a campaign, you can find it through the hashtag #SaveHIVFunding. But the big thing that we would recommend is if you're someone who can get in touch with your elected officials, especially at the federal level, urge your elected officials to preserve a program called HOPWA. This is Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS. This has been around since 1990, has enjoyed great bipartisan support for many years. The recent federal budget attempted to zero out that program. We saved it, but these threats are kind of coming regularly. So we need folks to speak up to save. Clare Housing wouldn't exist without HOPWA. It's a very, very important program for our funding. And so if you are able to get in touch with your federal elected officials about HOPWA, that would be great, but also just take any opportunity to support AIDS prevention funding, even at the state level, local level, whatever you can. So get tested, know your status, talk about U equals U, and save HIV prevention funding. Thanks again, and thank you so much for having us here tonight.
Thank you, Thomas. It is frustrating to have this tension of lovely music and opportunities to gather with the challenges that we are facing, so many helping organizations. The AIDS one is a particular focus tonight. Certainly other organizations with housing of other sorts are also facing these kinds of funding challenges, so we want to think of those. But we are uplifted by the music of the evening, so can we welcome FluteSpiration back to I think they're going to be in surprising locations here. So.
This will be a stereophonic work. We are positioned throughout the hall.
You'll have to excuse us as we find our way flying back to the stage. We got confused for a minute. I think we thought we were birds for a while. Maybe you guys thought we were birds too, mimicking each other with their piccolos. So the composer of that piece liked to play outside, and she liked to play the piccolo, Nicole Chamberlain. And as she played the piccolo, she realized there was some echoes happening in the background. And so she started kind of copying what she was hearing, and they went back and forth. And I guess she figured out how to talk to the birds. So that's what we were trying to show right there. With our next piece, it's called Children of the Wind, written by one of our favorite composers, Catherine McMichael. This is going to take you guys out to a castle that was built a very long time ago. It's going to go through the happy times of going and visiting the castle with some children of the wind, and also the kind of sadder times that it's really hard to build a castle, and it took a lot of labor to do that. So the middle movement is the building of the castle, and surrounding that is the children going up the hill, running through, running in the wind, and enjoying themselves. Thank you.
If people are curious, this is a bass flute, and it plays a full octave lower than the standard flute, and it's very wide tube, so it takes a lot of air to blow. But I really enjoy playing it, incorporating it with some of our quartet pieces. And Mark is playing the alto flute, which plays a fifth lower than the C flute, and he plays with a beautiful wooden head, so he just gets a gorgeous sound.
Thank you so much for being here this evening. It has been our pleasure to present all this wonderful flute music for you. We are grateful that you chose to spend time with us this evening and to support the Clare House and the families that they serve as well. Our final piece is by 19th century composer Joachim Andersen. He is best known for virtuosic etudes that combine technical brilliance along with lyrical, expressive writing. Now, the version of Scherzino that we're going to perform tonight for you was arranged by our very own Trudy Anderson, and that's no relation to the Anderson. This piece showcases sparkling articulation, nimble runs, and graceful phrasing. Thank you again for being a part of this evening of music.
And another bow. Come on now, let's not run off yet here. What a wonderful concert. We went from the 18th century to the 21st, from classics to jazz and several things in between. It's a delightful way to experience and see instruments that I'd never seen before, anyway, with the bass and the alto flute. So once again, let's thank FluteSpiration. And thanks to Thomas Page for being here, for reminding us of the work of Clare Housing and Clare Terrace. And we've got time to chat further with folks from there, to enjoy some cookies and coffee and something else, probably something liquid, and an opportunity to offer our free will offering again to Clare Housing at the back of the sanctuary. So thank you for being here, and remember there's another event, as always, every month. So in December, we have the Above Average Tuba Quartet will be here on the Sunday night, the 7th. So at 7 p.m. as usual time. So different night, but the usual time. So make it, put that on your calendar and make it a plan to be here for what is always a fun evening of larger than average instruments. Perhaps the polar opposite of piccolos, I guess. So With that, thank you again, FluteSpiration, and thank you all for being here.